am I?
All right, check this out. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Good morning.
Good morning to you too, buddy.
Thank you.
Oh, I got something for you. Would you rather have your kid be poly or have an OnlyFans?
OnlyFans.
Okay, would you rather your kid have an OnlyFans or be a prostitute?
OnlyFans.
See, I differ on this one.
Interesting.
Rather the kid be a prostitute.
And why is that?
It just feels more noble.
Well, it's sort of like. Is this something we talked about? No, this is not something we talked about.
Yeah, I don't think
it's
so.
It's sort of like being a prostitute is like being on the front lines in a war, and then having an OnlyFans is like being the drone guy.
Exactly, it's exactly like that.
So, like, I see where you're coming from, but like, I just want my child to be safe. You know.
I want my child to have honor. I care more about that than their safety for this imaginary kid.
I mean, that's fair. I've seen a lot of documentaries about prostitution. It doesn't seem like a glamorous life. I got to be real with you.
From what I am solicited of a lot. Wait, solicited of? What is this? What am I saying? Of the Tinder people who are prostitutes that try and get me to pay for their services, it does not seem glamorous.
Yeah,
but I haven't paid for anything for anybody listening.
That's good. I mean, like, you should support sex work, but
not financially.
Yeah, not for me personally.
Although I would rather pay for a prostitute than several OnlyFans.
That makes a lot of sense. Because there's a lot more to gain from a prostitute than an OnlyFans.
Yeah. I just feel like an OnlyFans is like, I could find any of this for free.
Not
like this specifically, but like something
OnlyFans
similar.
Is prostitution for people with social anxiety.
Yeah. And I don't like people with social anxiety.
Oof. Called out.
Yeah. What can you do?
Yeah. This is a special Saturday episode. Not for the fans, but
yeah, it's the same as the last one. So
it is the same as the last one, but this has Saturday energy.
Yeah, I mean, what is Saturday energy?
I don't know.
How was your Among Us game last night that I didn't participate in?
I don't think anyone listening cares, but it was fine.
Yeah.
We played hide and seek, and
I don't like hide and seek.
Yeah, I kind of hated it,
but some people really like it, and I'm like, guys,
yeah,
whatever.
It's just like a faster version.
If you're only because it's something you do when you have like 6 people, right?
We did it with 10, so
you did it with 10. That's why. Just play the normal game.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
If I was there, I would have been screaming the whole time.
I knew very few people there, so
I was playing Smash Brothers instead.
I think you did the smart move.
Yeah.
I was just antagonizing people with boats.
People with boats.
Votes.
Oh, I was like,
yeah.
I was like, is this code for somebody that you were antagonizing specifically? And I was like, I'm not following.
No, you know who I was antagonizing specifically, but
yeah.
I just every time, as soon as voting starts, I say I'm voting for the true killer, and then I vote for the same person.
I imagine they got very mad.
Yeah, It's
Yeah. Sick.
it's fun. Uh,
That's the meta game. It's just making people
it's
mad.
how you have fun while gaming, because gaming is notoriously female behavior. IMO.
They'll play games with your heart, man. Whew.
Yeah, it's true.
It's true. Dude, that's why I'm so glad I have no sweeties right now. And I'm just playing video games. It rules. And
Yeah,
they're so on the brain that I'm not even like thinking about like how alone I am, and that I'm gonna just spend my birthday by myself in my shitty apartment. I'm not even thinking
yeah, but
about that.
that'll
And
be
I've got a
fun.
couple months, well, a month and a half to sort of get that sorted out. But I have
Yeah.
video games, so I'll be fine.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I was gonna suggest you do something for your birthday, and then I tried to think of things that you could do by yourself.
That
I
are
don't know.
like also because it's like I'm not gonna get the vaccine by then probably.
No.
So yeah, that's fine. It's fine. I'm
Yeah.
fine. We're fine.
Everything's fine.
It's all good, man.
I hope so. Really? Like, I say, don't worry about it. Everything's fine. So frequently throughout the day.
And it's very
Um,
rarely true.
oh, almost never.
Yeah.
I'm really trying to convince myself of that. So, like at work, anytime someone asks me any question of any kind, um, they're like, "What's going on with it?" I'm like, "Don't worry about it. Everything's fine." And I just don't listen, because if I hear someone question something about the world, I will have a breakdown.
That's really all it takes.
Yeah, probably. I mean,
That's
I'm not going to risk it.
okay.
It's sort of like
Yeah.
flight. Like, we don't know how flight actually works. That's why they're like, look, we're on an airplane. Don't use a cell phone. We don't know. Like, we don't know why, but like, maybe
Don't
something
do it.
bad will happen. We don't know how this shit works. This is magic. We're just in the sky in like a 40-ton piece of machinery. Just like, just fucking relax.
I mean,
So
I've
that's
had my
sort of,
cell phone accidentally on a couple times, and it definitely just stops working after a certain
yeah, because
height.
there's no towers.
Yeah, you're above it, all the cell phone energies.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's I mean, they could just be like, guys, you could use your phone, but like it's not going to do anything because it doesn't work. So just
I mean,
don't bother.
you could play Flappy Bird.
Yeah, but you could play it in airplane mode. They wouldn't care about that.
Yeah.
I used to have Flappy Bird on my cell phone, but eventually,
Did you sell that cell phone?
no, I didn't. I should have. Um,
That was a
but
wild time.
yeah, it was. Unfortunately, I just kept upgrading my phone without really thinking about it, and then the game was not supported by my newest phone on the newest iOS, and I was like, oh well,
All right.
I guess I just am going to delete this and lose out on however much. How much money would a Flappy Bird phone go for these days?
These days might be astronomical. I'm gonna look this up.
I'm looking it up too. Yeah.
Let's both look it up.
um,
It says $300 to $90,000. That's a very large range.
I just typed in Flappy Bird iPhone into eBay, and there's one I assume that is 565 for the phone that has Flappy Bird on it, and there's an iPhone X with Fortnite and also Flappy Bird for 3,941.04.
I don't remember
Why
Fortnite
is
ever being on phones.
it was on phones? Why is it not on a phone anymore?
I have no
Phone
idea.
iPhone
Phone
11.
night.
What's the big
Okay, so
deal?
I went to.
Oh my god, these holy shit! iPhone 11 Pro with Fortnite installed, $15,000. iPhone 11 with Fortnite installed, $1,100, $10,000. What the fuck? Why was it?
Know that children are buying this.
Why? Why you can no longer? Why can't you have
Fortnite is free.
Oh,
Why?
it's just because Apple terminated Epic's developer account.
Uh, of course. Corrupt Apple. So I Googled this and I found an article on theguardian.com, and there's a pop up that's asking you about the cookies on the website, as every website has these days. Um,
Yeah.
and it says, "Are you happy to accept cookies?" And one of the buttons says, "Yes, I'm happy," and the other one says, "Manage my cookies." Um, so yeah, it is all it takes. Is just one question asking, "Are you happy?" Can't do it. I
Yeah.
refuse to read the article because I cannot click that button. Um, whew, that put me in a mood.
Just for some good news, I got a promotion at work.
Hell yeah! Is
I,
it a Peter Principle thing?
a what?
You don't know the Peter Principle?
I have no idea what that is.
It's a theory of how to run a company, I guess, business theory, where everyone is promoted. Like if you're good at a job, as a reward, you get promoted, and then you keep getting promoted until you're now doing a job that you're not good at, and then you just stay there. Um,
Oh,
so that happens in a lot of companies, and I think that's just like happening on a global scale at this point.
yeah. I
It's
mean,
just like no
I
one
never
knows
really
what's
even
going on.
thought about that as like a principle. It's more just like a thing that makes sense to do. Like somebody's good at their job, and you just give them more opportunities until they kind of tap out, or there's no more room for
Yeah,
people
but
to keep
like
going up.
then everyone is just incompetent at their job.
Well, and then you have enough turnover with new people.
Yeah, I don't think that's a good way to run a company. But what do I know?
That is true. That does happen a lot where you see people who are really good at like doing like tasks and they're like bumped up to like management positions and they're not good at like
Yeah, they have no idea how to
managing.
delegate and like make it
Yeah,
a schedule or
that
whatever.
is a problem.
Yeah, that's why people always hate their managers.
Because sometimes you have to promote somebody who's already bad at their job but would be a good
Yeah,
manager, and
yeah,
nobody wants to do that.
yeah. Because
Like me,
everyone's
I'm.
like, my manager can't even do my job. Why would I respect them? And that's a whole thing.
I don't respect one of my managers because she can't do math.
Yeah, that's an important part of your job.
Yeah, it's like it's not hard math. It was like doing averages.
I can
I had
do
to explain how
I can
averages
do
worked.
mode. I know how to do mode.
Isn't that the most frequent
It is
number
the
in a
most
set of
yeah, it's the
numbers?
most frequent. And then median is who cares? No
The
one.
middle
Oh,
one, but not
it's the
necessarily
middle.
the average. This is
Yeah,
statistics 101 with bad boy crimes. Um,
yeah.
not
At
even
least
yeah,
one of
it's not even
us.
a college course. This is like a high school math.
Yeah,
We're
this
having a
is.
unit on statistics.
I forgot
I'm
that they're
watching my
called
cat
units.
burrow into the blankets in my bed, which is very
That's good.
funny.
We love a good cat burrow.
Yeah. Well, because I'll not know where she is, and I'll be like, "Where's Emmy?" And I'll like throw around the blankets, and she gets really mad because she is inside of the blankets, which is fair for her to be upset by. Oh, she's getting mad because she can't find an easy entrance into the
Fucking
blanket
cats.
pile.
They just want an easy life. They hate struggle.
Yeah, same man.
Oh yeah. I
I'm
also
basically a cat.
I also hate struggle. Now
Yeah.
that I think about it. Um, yeah. So
How's your work? Oh wait, before we get to that, and it's been like several months since this was a thing, but we've never talked about it on the cast. But I am oh wow, Emmy's really going to town. She is burrowing like crazy. Anyways, um, um, I am a certified life coach
oh
as
yes,
well.
that's correct.
So my resume is really looking up these days.
Did you put it on a resume? Like
No,
I
I
know,
haven't
yeah,
updated a resume yet.
you haven't needed to update.
But now that I
Um,
have a need to update it, Um, I could throw that on there as a goof.
You could.
Because here's the thing about resumes, folks. People they like resumes that have just something not like weird as in like you're doing bits, but like
Something unique.
yeah, something like because I have an art minor, which in the accounting world gets people to look at you weird.
Yeah.
Because that's not what they expect. Like, oh, accounting, finance, double major, or just accounting major with like whatever stupid, boring minor. You know,
History.
I feel like that would even get some attention because it's not. It's like a social
I don't know. I
thing.
don't. I didn't go to school, so what do I know?
It's stupid, man. School's a joke.
It's true. I hate school.
But if any of you listening are going to be accountants, pick up an art minor. It might help you.
Pick up an art major. Why not?
I
Just go
almost did
wild.
arts administration as my major, and I wonder if I should have done that.
I have no idea what that is.
It's like basically like curating museums
Oh,
and
that's
stuff.
sick.
Yeah, like it would have been pretty
You could
cool.
be a docent.
But is that what that is? I don't know what a docent is.
Good question. A docent, DOCENT, is not how I spelled it. A college or university teacher or
Hmm.
lecturer, a person who leads guided tours, especially through a museum or art gallery.
That
That's
literally could have been it. I could have been that guy. But I'm not good at memorizing facts about art. Now, if it was a video game thing, different story. I'd be all over
video
that.
games are art, though.
I hate that argument.
I mean, everything's art.
But
You ever
that's
see
it's
a
such
chair? How beautiful!
fuck off.
That was that was literally like 5 classes a year in philosophy in high school.
We didn't even have philosophy in high school, but
Oh, I
the whole like
learned
everything
philosophy.
the everything is art thing just bugs me because it's meaningless, right? Like I think intention absolutely matters. It doesn't have to, but it usually does. Like Marvel stuff, for example, I would never really say is art. Like it's meant to be an entertaining product, consumable by like literally anybody. You know,
Yeah, it's a cash grab.
it, it's not. It's just like it's a thing. It's supposed to be an entertaining product, which it usually is. Although I think WandaVision sucks. Um, the
Roasted,
finale was yesterday.
roasted.
Uh, you haven't watched it, have you?
No, I hate Marvel.
Yeah. Well,
I
I'm
watched.
okay. Okay.
I've seen Iron Man 1 and 2, and I have seen Thor Ragnarok.
Thor Ragnarok's a good one, mostly because
Yeah,
it's kind of like goofy and not really like any of the other films. And then like all the Iron movies with Iron Man in them are usually pretty good because like Iron Man's character arc is like the one thread emotionally connecting all of the movies up until Endgame, and then he dies.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
I also saw Guardians of the Galaxy 1. It was my second date with my wife. So
Wow,
that's, yeah, that's a little
I saw
dating
that movie
myself
with the
there.
boys.
Me too, technically, if you think about it. Don't think too hard. My wife's my boy. I love my wife. Anyway, you're a life coach. We got off that real quick.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like it was funnier like when I was losing my mind
Yeah,
back in September, and now it's like just a thing that I did.
yeah. Which, let's be real, you did not do.
Well, I have the certificate.
Yeah, but like as far as far as knowing what that certificate is for, on
Yeah, I
like
didn't
a
necessarily pay
specific
attention to the
basis.
lectures that gave me the certificate, but I did, according to my phone, listen to them,
Yeah, that's all
and
that
that's what
matters.
counts.
Yeah, everything that like my phone thinks is what the world thinks of me. So pretty good.
Really? Yeah.
I
So
mean, like,
how's the Nigerian been?
um, I
We
mean,
haven't
he's
talked about
fine.
him in a couple episodes.
He
Figured we'd
he
check in.
he loves pranks, but
Ooh.
he's very bad at them.
Hmm.
Um, his one of his favorite pranks. I'm not going to say his favorite, but one of his favorite is pretending that somebody is there that is not there. And so um, he will like stand close to me, but look like in front of a doorway. So if I'm like by a wall, he will stand by the doorway of that wall, and then he will just like start talking as if somebody is there, like a manager or at one time a group of police officers. Um, and he'll always pretend that they're looking for me, but what he maybe he doesn't realize is that we work overnight in a building of just us. There's only us, and it's like 3 in the morning, and he'll be like, "Oh, the police are here." I'm like, "All the doors are locked. Nobody can get in. They're locked. There's a deadbolt, and there's like a key code on the outside. No one, there's nobody there." Um, and this week, he did that twice in 5 minutes. And both times I just looked at him and shook my head, and I was like, "No, you're not going to get me with that."
Yeah, I think that's like a prank that you do once, and
Yeah.
it kind of, you can't really keep doing it, especially twice within 5 minutes.
Like nothing else happened either. It wasn't like we weren't talking. I was doing work. Um,
That's great.
then,
I'm glad you were doing your job.
like I was just doing my job, and then he like pretended that my boss was there, and then I just looked at him and shook my head. I was like, "You're not going to get me with that." And then I went back to my work. He just continued standing there, and then like a couple minutes later, he did the exact same thing. And then I was like, what are you doing? You like I just told you you're not going to get me with that. Try something else. That's fine. Or don't. Just like do part of your job that you never do.
Wow. Ooh, called out.
Yeah. He loves to say that he's too tired to work, and then also just like not work for half of his shift every day, which is fine. He meets his quota, so like, what do I care? Yeah, that's
I love meeting your quota without working for half the day. Those are great days.
Well, that's like every day because our job is very easy, and also we work too long of an hour's shift, which I've been arguing against. But also, it's basically free money, so
Well,
who's to say?
yeah, but at the cost of precious time.
Yeah, it's time that I just like don't do anything. I could be at home not doing anything.
Yeah.
It's a matter of perspective.
Okay. Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
So that's the candy factory. It's fine. Um,
Do you have a bad boy?
I do have a bad boy. I wanted to do all women, as I said, for Women's History Month. Is it Women's History Month?
Yeah, I think I read that somewhere.
Is it history? Yeah. Women's History Month. So I wanted to do all women, but I don't know.
Wow, when did it become Women's History Month? Because it feels very white women feminism to put Women's History Month like immediately after Black History Month. You know?
All right, you've convinced me. My bad boy is Susan B. Anthony.
Really?
Yeah, I had to think real hard about what her name was.
Oh wait, I actually read some. She's racist, or was racist.
I will believe it. I will choose to believe it.
I read that on Reddit, so it has to be true.
Yeah. Looks like 1987.
1987?
Yeah, that's the start of Women's History Month. When did we start
I was like, Susan B. Anthony was not, she was not alive in 1987.
She died in 1906.
Really?
Damn. She didn't even get to see women's suffrage.
I wish women's suffrage meant women were suffering. In fact, it means quite the opposite.
Well, to vote is to suffer, I think. I haven't been happy since I became of voting age, so.
Do they vote in Canada? Do you do that?
Yeah, we do have voting.
Uh,
It's not just a dictatorship.
I don't know anything about Canada, so that's news to me.
Yeah. Stick around, you might learn something. Anyway, my bad boy is not Susan B. Anthony.
Oh.
This is a very sidetracked episode.
That's fine. It's meandering,
that's
but it gives the audience
energy, baby.
It gives the audience to room to think. I think.
No. Anyway, this is a 1700s bad boy. He's a young man.
It's a dude.
It's a dude. Yeah.
Oh.
I was gonna say I wanted to do all women for Women's History Month, and then I don't know. I just saw this one, and I was like, this is just a fun story. So Tarrare, have you ever heard of him? A Frenchman.
Who? What's his name?
Tarrare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the guy? Okay,
Yep.
I think I have heard of this guy, actually.
Okay.
Maybe. But go on.
He's a Frenchman, noted for his unusual appetite and eating habits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the guy.
Cool guy. Able to eat vast amounts of meat and is constantly hungry. He was so hungry on a daily basis that his parents kicked him out of the house. They're like, you are too hungry. You need to leave. And so he was like, well, I'm not going to get a job to afford all this food that I need to eat. My two working parents, and his mom probably wasn't working now that I think about it. His parents couldn't afford it. So, like, he's not going to do it as a teenager. So he joins, like, a group of thieves and prostitutes. And then he did that for a little bit. And then he started working with, like, a traveling, I'll say a charlatan.
Ooh.
What are they called?
A
guy who sells love potion from a wagon.
Oh.
I don't know if that's what this guy did.
Like sort of. Well, I mean, snake oil salesman would be one word. Well, not a word because it's like 3 words, but
Yeah. A phrase.
A fraudulent man.
Yeah, a bad boy, if you will.
And we will.
Yeah. So he was like, I'll do this like warm up act for this guy who's then gonna do his charlatan routine. So he would like eat rocks, and he's so hungry he's just eating rocks. It says he ate a whole basket full of apples, which, like, I don't know if that's that impressive.
Yeah, I feel like if I liked apples and was incredibly hungry, I could probably down a basket of apples. Yeah. Like, is he eating the cores as well?
It doesn't specify, but I assume so. It also says corks and live animals, which
so like 2 completely different ends of the spectrum of food.
Yeah, I have no idea what kind of live animals you're eating. A mouse,
a bat,
bugs? Could be a bat. And then he went to Paris, become as a street performer. Great move.
As one would do when their talent.
Yeah, when you're so
cork.
hungry, when you're so hungry, you become a street performer. And then he joined the military for the French Revolution because he's like, hey, they got army rations, notably very filling army rations.
I was gonna say, I was like, what army would let this? Like, if I saw this guy eating corks, he's like, I want to join the army. I'd be like,
I don't
no.
know
But I
about
guess the
that.
French Revolution could take
Yeah, they're like,
whatever
yeah,
they would
sure,
get.
have a
Yeah.
gun. Why not? Uh,
Then
so
he eats the gun.
so he ate 4 times the standard ration, and then he was still hungry. So he would just like roam around eating food from the gutters and like the landfill. Um, but here's the thing: he was eating 4 times the standard military ration, and he was eating food on the street. And then he was like so frail and like starving to death. Like his health condition was, as it says in this article, deteriorating through hunger.
Yeah.
That's
That.
that's that's not an okay boy. Um, and then he had to be hospitalized, which
Why did they even hospitalize this? I'd just take him around back.
yeah,
I'm surprised he didn't die in the war.
I don't know how much war he actually saw. We're gonna
Hmm.
get to that in a minute. So, as you might guess, in a hospital, they ran some tests on him. They're like, "Why are you so hungry all the time? That's not okay." Um, so it says uh, they're testing his eating capacity, in which, among other things, he ate a meal intended for 15 people in a single sitting, ate live cats, snakes, lizards, and puppies, and swallowed eels whole without chewing. Like, what are they testing? They're like, okay, he can eat a cat. Can he eat a puppy? How about an eel?
And you
And
don't
I
get to
got
take a bite on the eel. You just have to slurp that thing down like a big piece of spaghetti.
spaghetti noodle. I imagine eels aren't easy to come by in fucking like 1780.
Right?
Um,
Yeah. I was like, where they just had. They're like, well, we're gonna eat this for dinner later, but I guess
uh,
we need to see if this strange man can slurp this boy down.
yeah. Um, Despite his unusual diet of puppies, cats,
Of
lizards, eels,
anything,
corks,
of
rocks,
literally
garbage,
anything he can shove into his mouth.
uh, he was underweight. And with the exception of his eating habits, he showed no signs of mental illness other than what was described as an apathetic temperament, which, yeah, I can imagine. You're like, hey, just like, just puppies, just like the most adorable thing you can find, just like shove that in your mouth. And then the guy's like a little bit
All right.
depressed. You're like, is this mental illness? Or forcing him to eat puppies. Um,
Couldn't be.
so, so now finally, he's he's being put to use in the military as a courier. Not
Is he
not
gonna eat the letters?
he does eat the letters. he does he does eat confidential documents, and then recovers them on the other side.
I guess
Um,
it's a good use of his talent.
I mean, I guess he got captured on his first mission,
Never mind.
um, and it says he underwent a mock execution and then was just like given back to France. Uh, cool.
What a mock execute? Why would you go through the trouble just to be
Yeah,
like?
I don't
Was
know.
the Nigerian there doing his pranks?
Nice little prank. Um, yeah, I don't know. That seems weird on their part. Maybe they were meant to actually kill him, and he just like ate the noose. Just ate the.
He just
I
ate
don't know.
everybody and went
Maybe
home.
they like fed him cyanide, and they're like,
Oh.
he just ate it. Like it's fine. No, we were just pretending. Just go home. Get out of here. Um, So then he gets back to France and he's like goes to a doctor and he's like, I gotta something's gotta be done. You know, I
Oh,
can't be eating
he's
this
like
much.
he finally he's like, maybe I can't live like this.
Maybe this is bad. Um, and in case you're curious about the state of the healthcare industry in like 1785, he was treated with laudanum, which
What's laudanum?
it's opium.
Oh, sick.
Yeah,
Not
uh,
much has changed.
laudanum tobacco pills. Sure. Wine vinegar.
Okay, that's good.
Okay. Here's one that's like very confusing to me. Soft boiled eggs. They thought that they're like, this man can eat anything. How do we fix that? Give him eggs. Like,
Was this guy really fat, or was he just
no,
like?
he
Oh,
was
he was
underweight.
underweight. Yeah,
He
yeah,
was
yeah.
medically underweight. Um, the procedures failed, as you might imagine.
Did he
Um,
just not absorb nutrients?
I have no idea.
This,
Um, and then the doctors were like, okay, like, we got to keep you to a strict diet. And then he would break out of the hospital and just like eat garbage from the street. He went to like a butcher shop and he just like ate everything out of the dumpster. Um, and then here's where he like starts to become a bad boy. He's
yeah, I was like, so far he's been a sympathetic character.
yeah. Here's where he makes his little Joker twist.
Oh,
Um, so you're like, look, I mean, he ate a couple cats, but like that was for science.
yeah,
Other than that, he's just a hungry boy. Here's where he takes it too far. He starts drinking the blood of other patients in the hospital, um,
sick.
which, like,
Honestly, that's kind of cringe.
I
It's kind of
mean,
like trying to be a vampire.
I
Which,
mean, it's the
ugh.
1780s. Dracula hadn't come out yet.
Oh,
Uh,
okay, then
yeah,
very cool.
very cool. And then, like, there's a morgue in the basement of the hospital. You can imagine what happened there.
Oh
Um,
no, ew, they're not even fresh.
no. Speaking of, a toddler disappeared from the hospital,
Mm.
and
Oh,
very mysterious circumstances that this toddler just disappeared. It says toddler, not infant, which strange.
that is an
Um,
interesting distinction.
yeah. So,
Yeah, why is there
um,
just a toddler hanging out at a
I
hospital?
mean, like, I guess
If you're at a
toddlers can be
hospital when you're a
sick.
toddler, you're kind of done. In that age, like
Yeah.
you're that kid's not living.
I'm trying to. I was trying to think like what it could be. I'm like, oh, maybe they're like it. My initial instinct was to say incubator. I'm like, nope, that's not for toddlers. Um, and then I was like, they didn't even have technology back then. Like, what are they doing?
Yeah,
Did they have?
then
I don't know
didn't
if they
have a
had.
whole lot.
Yeah. Um, so this toddler disappears, and they're like, listen, buddy, you gotta go. You're trying to eat the dead people. You're drinking blood. This baby's gone. Get out of here. Um, so he has to leave. Now, just for clarity's sake, this man only lived to be 27.
27 Club, the original member.
I think 27. It says 1772 to 1798. So, how many years is that? 18 plus 8. It's 26.
26.
That's math
We
for
did
you.
it.
We did it, folks. Yeah, so this all happened when he was like pretty young.
Yeah,
Uh,
but back then also that's pretty old because people weren't like
well, that's
living incredibly long lives. I'm surprised he made it that long. You know,
yeah for his situation, um, pretty bad. I mean, pretty good.
did, did he die from eating garbage or did he die from?
Uh, we're about to find out.
Oh,
So,
okay, great.
he gets kicked out of the hospital. No record of him for 4 years, and then he comes back with tuberculosis. Um, and then he basically died of having too much diarrhea, which
I can't imagine why he would be having that.
yeah,
Well, when
pretty cool.
did they like poke around his body to figure out what the hell was wrong with him?
A little bit, yeah. So, um, do you know what this is a cow? He could eat a quarter of a cow by the time he was a teenager. Um,
A whole cow?
like yeah, just a quarter of it. But yeah,
Jeez.
um, yeah. So like that's his body weight as a teenager. And imagine eating a cow every 4 days as like a 14-year-old. You know how expensive that would be.
Yeah, that's.
Um,
I mean, even now that's expensive as
yeah, that
back
would be
then.
very expensive.
Yeah.
Um, and then you love to eat snakes. All right, here's
I want
where
to see
is
that
his death?
autopsy.
Um, Interesting. Okay. Where is this autopsy
This is
part?
a podcast that doesn't read off of Wikipedia articles.
Absolutely not. Um, okay, here it says that this toddler was 14 months.
Ugh.
Um, yeah, so that's the toddler, 14 months. Um, okay, here's his autopsy. Um, the corpse rotted quickly. The surgeons of the hospital refused to dissect it. Um, I don't like they're
Why?
afraid that they're gonna get digested or something. I don't know. Uh, this guy, somebody, Tessier, wanted to find out how he was different.
Yeah.
Oh, here's an important fact that I glossed over. When he came back with tuberculosis, he told the doctor that he swallowed a golden fork 2 years ago, and he thought that that was stuck inside his stomach, and that's why he was dying. Um,
Was he right?
no, he had
Oh,
tuberculosis.
I was like, I guess I don't know what tuberculosis is, so maybe
It's
I
a
was like,
lung
maybe he
disease.
got it from the fork. Oh,
I think it's like
yeah.
you have water in your lungs, maybe. Um, yeah. So this guy wants to look it up, and he wants to see if the gold fork was actually inside his stomach. Um, and they just found that it was abnormally wide, and when his jaws were open, you could just like see into his stomach, just
Now,
like
tuberculosis is a bacterial infection of the lungs.
yeah, something like that. His body was found to be filled with pus. His liver and gallbladder were abnormally large, and his stomach was enormous, covered in ulcers and filling most of his abdominal cavity. The fork was never found.
That's
So, like,
disgusting.
he just had a large, like, wide stomach.
And also a body full of
Yeah,
just a
the
disgusting.
inside of his body was not doing so good, and it
He
might have
wasn't
something
well.
to do with all the garbage that he ate. Um, yeah.
Well, R.I.P.
Here's
An
some
OG bad boy.
Here's another fact about his military career. He proved that he could swallow important documents and then retrieve them. Um, and after he did it, they rewarded him with a wheelbarrow filled with bull's lungs and liver,
And he was
which
like, oh boy.
he just ate the entire thing in front of them.
Did he also eat the wheelbarrow?
Probably. Um, so yeah, that's that's this guy. That's what he's up to.
King.
You can't be eating live babies. I'll say that much.
Yeah, yeah, it's a bit of a bad boy move. Well, my bad boy is a bad girl.
Uh-oh. He did
Uh-oh.
it.
And you know, in many ways parallels your bad boy for this week, because this is a modern person who is also consumed by a hunger, but this hunger
Hmm.
is for clout, not for just anything. Um,
Is this um who is a famous woman of clout?
it's not a famous person. It's
Okay.
this is
Forget
a
it.
follow up from a story 2 weeks ago where I was talking about the Bachelor. Um, so I'm sure everybody's really there. If they're still listening, they might have clicked out of this by now. But for those of you who are still here and want some Bachelor analysis, I'm here for you, because also this is interesting, regardless of it being the Bachelor or not. So a couple weeks ago, I was talking about Chris Harrison being rude uh, and dismissive of systemic racism. Um,
You can't be doing that.
you really ought not to be doing that on a
Not in the year
podcast,
of our Lord 2021.
and not when it's your job to like be the
Be
face
a
of your
public figure.
franchise. Yeah, you can't really be doing that. Um, and one of the people who is really saying that Chris Harrison should lose his job was a former Bachelor contestant, Taylor Nolan. Um, Taylor Nolan was on the 2017 season, um, and she is known for basically being rude to this one girl and saying she didn't have emotional intelligence, and just being kind of condescending and, you know, not the most fun person to be around. Um, and then she went on a season of Bachelor in Paradise and was like a little less bad there, but still like not pleasant. I've never liked this girl, for the record.
Sounds like
Uh,
nobody has.
well, but then a couple years later, she started identifying as black. Not to say that she wasn't
Rachel
always black.
Dolezal
She's
style.
half. Well, she's half black, half white, I think. But one, by looking at her, you just guess ambiguously brown. You wouldn't really, I thought she was like Indian or South Asian, I guess, before, like part South Asian, like half white, like she was mixed with something. I just couldn't figure out what. Um,
Sure.
that Normally I wouldn't explain this to this much detail, but it's very important for the grander story here. Because it's all about identity politics, baby.
Yep.
um,
That's true.
It is. It really is. It's the most important thing. So she recently started like identifying with her black side of herself, I guess, and was like super big Black Lives Matter person, and like really big on, I guess, canceling people in the Bachelor Nation for being racist, and like, basically being super critical of people's bad apologies, which all on its own fine, sure.
People love doing bad apologies.
They really do. Especially the Bachelor apologies from people are always awful. And so it's good that somebody's there to call them out. That's fine. So I guess over the weekend, somebody was mad at the podcast host Rachel Lindsay, the podcast host who did the interview with Chris Harrison, that got him in trouble. And so he was like looking up dirt on people associated with her, and like Taylor, I guess, is associated with her since they're both big into the Black Lives Matter activism stuff. And that makes it sound like it's a hobby, which it's not a hobby. It's important work.
For white women, it's a hobby.
None of these women are white, although Taylor's an interesting case, but we'll get to that. So they pulled up tweets from Taylor, and these tweets are basically her saying like every hateful thought that comes to mind about almost everybody. She hates on black people. black women specifically, sex positivity. Oh, and as an aside, her Instagram, she's really big on like shilling vibrators and like being sex positive and stuff. And also she's like in a poly relationship. Whatever. But she hates sex positivity. She hates black women. She hates Indian men, Asian people in general.
That's where I
Probably
draw
other
the
women. That's where a lot of people online were drawing the line. They're like, you can be offensive to other people, but you can't be racist to my people, which is kind of what a lot of the discourse was sounding like online, but whatever. I'm a white guy, so what do I care? Or what do I know? You know, my opinion doesn't matter is my point. She is a therapist studying to be a sex therapist. She had several tweets saying the prescription for people with personality disorders should be suicide, which I'm not going to comment on one way or the other.
I think that it's bad.
And, we all have our opinions.
It makes me think of the film Philadelphia with Thomas Hanks.
Thomas Hanks.
Yeah, Thomas Hanks is in Philadelphia. And it's a gay pride movie, I'll call it. An LGBT category film.
Yeah.
And one of the protest signs of people protesting gay people says, AIDS is the cure for homosexuality. So that's what I was reminded of. If suicide is a prescription for whatever.
Personality disorders.
Yeah.
She also had tweets, and this is where it starts getting into she's actually maybe has committed some sort of a crime, or at least a bigger oopsie that has more consequences than just being racist online from 8 years ago. She was like, she talked shit about like her clients that she would see as a therapist.
Yeah, you can't do that.
You really ought not to do that. She didn't like name names, but she could give enough details, and with timestamps and stuff, you could probably figure it out who she is talking about if you had more information.
It's you sound like an oath or a contract or something.
It's very unethical, if not illegal. Basically, everything under the sun has come out for she's said hateful stuff, and she gave like about 5 different apologies. One of her apologies was basically like, guys, it's the whiteness in me that did this. I've done the work. She said, I've done the work a lot. What is the work? I don't know. And she also was like, still being like, it was the Indian men's fault that I was being racist towards them. I'm like, oh, sick. You don't care about any of this at all.
No.
Cool. And she eventually gave a few more that was like, she eventually landed on one that was fine. But I think the first couple of apologies are probably more, no, she was also mad because she's like, these tweets were being brought up in bad faith, so they don't count. I'm like, well, you still tweeted though. And it's not like any of them were worded as jokes, right?
Yeah.
Like, because I respect a joke, but these are just like, I hate black people.
I mean, funny bit though.
I mean, if they were jokes, she's much funnier than anybody I know. I'll put it that way. She's on a level of humor that I didn't even think was possible.
Yeah. That's, I don't stand by racism. I think it's bad.
I also think racism is bad.
We shouldn't do it. If it were up to me, no. But speaking of apologies, one of my favorite apologies is Shia LaBeouf. Do you remember his apology?
No.
I believe
what was he apologizing for?
It was like 2013.
He's been kind of a psycho.
It was right before his like very public breakdown where he did that art installment where he just like wore a paper bag over his head.
Oh, and then like a woman sexually assaulted him.
Yeah. Which, like,
why isn't
just
she
like
in jail? Why isn't she in jail?
that's a good point. Honestly, she's going to be in the Bad Boy next week. Keep your eyes peeled.
Yeah.
Just like stop doing the art thing for a bit.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Not to victim blame, but he really could have just been like, all right, I'm done.
yeah. But like, you know, he's committed to the integrity of the art, which I respect. But before that happened, the reason that he was, I don't know if this was the reason, but as far as the public is concerned, I would say this is the reason. He made a short film, and then it came out that he plagiarized the whole thing. Like the
Nice.
like shot for shot and like the script was all plagiarized. And so they're like, "Hey, buddy, like you very clearly just like stole this all from like a French short film." Um, so then he like did a public apology, and then it came out that his apology word for word was plagiarized from a Yahoo Answers thing from like 8 years ago.
That rules.
Just like 100% word for word plagiarized it. Hilarious, hilarious bit to plagiarize an apology about plagiarizing.
I mean, he knew. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's a bit. He's very clearly on purpose doing that.
Doing that. Yeah.
Like he has like a PR manager who would write an apology for him.
He's like, no, I got this. And they're like,
I
please, you don't.
Yeah, so that happened. So that was kind of a bad look for him, and then he sort of spiraled publicly.
And he's kind of been spiraling publicly ever since.
Yeah, Donald Trump really upset him. He was pretty upset about that whole thing.
What blows my mind about people being mad about Donald Trump is like old Joseph. He hasn't really been doing much different. I mean, it's only been a couple of months, but it's like, come on, man. He's opening up more of the things,
yeah.
the camps.
Now it's called a migrant detention center, though. So improvement, am I right?
I mean, as long as the good guys are doing it, I guess it's fine.
Yeah. We also, I mean, I say we. Joseph also bombed Syria and also also did a big lie about the stimmy, and then you know, hasn't really done anything good.
Yeah, I mean, because it's not like the minimum wage is going to get passed.
Nope.
Which
and
doesn't,
also,
I mean, it doesn't
like,
affect me at all, but it probably should go up.
Well, like, people have been fighting for $15 minimum wage for so long that like it's no longer good enough.
Yeah.
And then they're like, we'll do it in 5 years, which like everyone's going to be dead by then. So
yeah, there's not going to be money in 5 years for minimum wage to matter.
Yeah. So I don't know. I really hate Joseph Biden.
I mean, this whole thing's stupid.
Yeah, politics are dumb.
Yeah.
I will also say about Shia LaBeouf. Now this is a very like held on by a single thread sort of point.
Yeah.
But I did see an anonymous AMA on Reddit that claimed to be a child actor who was severely molested, and then can no longer come forward about it because their public image is too destroyed by public breakdowns.
I wonder who that could be.
And there were some like very clear hints that pointed towards Shia LaBeouf, and people were making guesses, and the guy running the AMA was like, if somebody guesses it, I will delete this post. And then the last comment says, is it Shia LaBeouf? So you tell me, America.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Shia got diddled.
Yeah. It
Like,
would
not even at
explain a
all.
lot.
It does explain probably everything.
Like, and Honey Boy, it would explain a little bit of that.
I still
Great
need to see
movie,
that
by the
movie.
way. Great movie.
I'm going to see a movie later today.
Is it Honey Boy?
No, it is the new Disney movie.
Raya.
And the Last Dragon, yeah?
Yeah. It's a Filipino film.
Yeah, Raya looks like a bae. I'm assuming she's over 18. she looks like an adult character. I think I'm allowed to say that.
I think they on purpose draw the kids to be adults.
Oh, I mean, anime does that.
Yeah.
I mean, like every cartoon does that.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. Like no, kids don't look like whatever. I was like, is Shigo an adult? I don't know.
Mulan, adult. I mean, Mulan was in the army. I guess Mulan is an adult.
Is Lilo's sister an adult?
No, she's a guardian, a legal guardian.
Legal
Gotta
guardian,
be an adult. Nani's, she's got it going on.
Yeah, she's a bae.
I love that movie. It's definitely Lilo is the most mentally deranged Disney character of all time.
Yeah, they're like, let's just give a Disney character autism and see what happens.
Well, it's a lot worse than just autism because she's like yeah, it starts with her like feeding peanut butter sandwiches to a fish because she thinks he controls the weather.
Yeah,
pretty weird. But then she's starting like fist fights with other girls very quickly, like biting them, punching them in the face. And then she's like, I have this doll that I carry around that, like, the lore of her doll is that bugs laid eggs in her head, and so she's blind.
I love when dolls have lore.
Yeah. And then she like nails the front door shut and just like listens to Elvis on her back, like, I want to die. Watch Lilo and Stitch. For those listening, watch Lilo and
Stitch in a while. This has been horrifying.
Watch Lilo and Stitch and just like really pay attention to the mental state of this like 6-year-old girl. It's not good. She has this whole thing where she's just like, I need to take a picture of every fat person on the island of Hawaii.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Like, that's not explained.
Did you ever watch the TV show?
I did not watch the TV show. I haven't seen the sequels either.
The TV show is pretty good because they have like different experiments that they'd have to deal with each episode, and those were cool.
I wanted to watch them, but I always feel like they're going to be bad. Like all the extended Lilo and Stitch media.
Yeah.
I've never heard anything either way about any of them.
I think they're all fine.
And it's also confusing because there's like Lilo and Stitch 2, Leroy and Stitch, and then Stitch the movie. And I'm like, what's the second one? What am I supposed to...
Leroy is he's the sandwich guy, right?
I have no idea. Are you thinking of David, the surfer, who's friends with Nani?
No, he's the experiment
626.
Oh no, Leroy is. Oh, he's a different experiment. He's not the one I'm thinking of. Because there's one experiment that just makes sandwiches, and he's like as strong as Stitch, but like just chooses to make sandwiches instead or something. Oh, Leroy and Stitch is a TV movie. That is the third and final sequel film.
Okay.
And also the TV series finale to Lilo and Stitch, the series.
I guess I'll figure out the chronology of this, and then I'll just binge that this weekend. That's going to be my weekend.
Yeah. I'm reading the... Oh, yeah.
It was just a bad time for you to just leave me hanging on.
Sorry. I'm like, oh, yes, the deep lore of the sandwich one, his name is Reuben.
Oh, Reuben Sandwich.
Yes.
Very cool.
I like looking at all the designs of the little experiments. They're funny little critters.
I'm just gonna watch that. I know I already said that, but now I'm like excited now that I'm thinking about it.
You're like, oh man, it's gonna make a whole weekend out of Lilo and Stitch.
I just like don't have to be alone with my thoughts. It's gonna be great.
Sick.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
I'm sure Raya will be good. I hope there's no Pepsi riots.
Yeah, I had to tie in this episode to last episode. So next week I will give my review of the movie and see how the Pepsi riots impacted the development of this film. Because I'm sure they did in a lot of ways.
Well, it impacted the history of the Philippines.
Now I'm sure this movie takes place chronologically before Pepsi existed.
Well,
but
you just think that
no
because
way
you think dragons are in the past, but dragons can be any time
because they're not real. So who's to say when a dragon is around?
Exactly.
No, I'm pretty sure it's in the past. They're all dressed like the past. Though I'm not up on Philippine style trends.
Yeah.
So maybe they're, I don't know, maybe they just
they're
dress
on
like
a different wave.
That'd be cool. I would like
cool.
that. I want to dress like a samurai.
Yeah. But like it's hard out here in the West for fashion because fashion cycles like every 20 years.
20 years. I feel like it's a lot faster than that these days.
Well, it's like every 20 years approximately. Like stuff will go out of style for 20 years at a time and it'll come back.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Because 80s and 90s stuff is kind of back.
Yeah.
But it's going to be gone again in like a year.
Yeah. So I was thinking about it. It's roughly every 20 years that stuff like 80s stuff was pretty popular at the end of the 90s. In the 2000s, you had a lot of like rainbows came back, tie-dye and stuff.
Yeah.
Psychedelia. That came back. And then like the 90s sort of happened. There's like a bit of a grunge phase this last decade.
I feel like stuff, I don't know. I'm not like super into fashion. But I feel like I think with the internet and like just like media doing more throwback stuff on purpose to like appeal to nostalgia, like I think a lot of things are coming back and they might not necessarily go away. Like they might just be included in whatever you're allowed to do.
Yeah.
Which would be cool, I guess, because people have more options.
It's possible.
Because it's not like fashion can really be dictated by like the media anymore, because social media is like lot more powerful. So it's just like whatever people on social media are doing are going to dictate that, and that's going to just be all over the place because it's,
Yeah.
Even if there's a zeitgeist, you can't really like control it that well.
It's going to be less contained for sure. But the fashion 20 years ago was like the Matrix, like the tiny sunglasses and like leather trench coats.
Which 2000s fashion was bad.
Kind of coming back.
Is it?
Like a little bit. It's not explicitly Matrix yet, but like it's a little bit there. The other thing I've noticed is every decade it switches from shiny to matte.
Yeah. Because what 80s is shiny, 90s matte, 2000s shiny again.
Yeah.
What was even 2010 fashion?
It was like,
I'm like, that's just normal people clothes.
There's like a lot to do with Kanye as well. There's a lot of like pastels, a lot of muted colors. Like Kanye, if you look at like the Yeezy season 1, I know we talk about Kanye every episode now, but if you look at Yeezy season 1, when that came out in like 2013, I want to say,
Yeah.
Everyone was like, this is ridiculous. These clothes are like so weird and ugly. That's just what people dress like now. And a lot of his stuff is like neutral, like browns, tans,
Earthy
green. Yeah,
colors.
a lot of
Yeah.
earthy colors. Um,
I don't like earthy colors, man.
well, that's what it's been for the last 10 years. And I think now in 2020, 2021, like everyone's depressed right now and everyone wants to die. But I think as soon as we get out of this pandemic in 6 years, Shiny's coming back, baby. Like
I
that's why it
mean,
was the Roaring Twenties, and that's why people are like getting all fancied up to go to the matinee. Because they're like, I haven't left my house because of the Spanish flu
yeah,
uh,
and the war.
and the war. So like that's why it was the Roaring Twenties. And now, like as soon as we get out of this, people are gonna be, you know,
They're going to be roaring.
they're gonna be roaring, and I think that's gonna be a lot of shine.
Hopefully, it's just like more fun options and not like just kind of plain. Because there's a lot, I don't know, like a lot of stuff feels just very plain and not like and simple. Not in like a bad way, just in like a
A lot of like minimalist.
yeah. Like I want
Yeah,
some more ornate shit, you know, or some fun colors. Not even
yeah,
shiny, just fun.
yeah, bright.
Like anything that isn't an earth tone. God, I hate earth tones so much.
Earth tones have been dominating the world for a while now.
I'm like, no, let me wear my bright frat boy clothes again.
Yeah, that was
And
also. I'm not gonna say it. Forget it.
all right,
Should we wrap this up? You want to go for another hour?
yeah, wrap this up. I'm sniffly.
Yeah. I gotta make a pizza.
Ooh,
So
what kind of pizza?
I have a cauliflower crust, ham and pineapple. No, I don't
Is
know
the
what's on
cauliflower
it.
crust good?
I do like it. Yeah.
Hmm.
On the
I'll have to
box it
check it
says
out.
45% vegetables.
That's pretty good.
It's got chicken and yellow pepper. That's what this pizza is. Yeah.
Do you have
Um.
anything to plug?
Um. No.
I also
You know
don't
what?
because I have not been in my apartment still.
Do you have any idea when you're going back?
No. Um. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I could theoretically just like stay there while the floors are all fucked up, but like I don't really want to, and like all my stuff is everywhere because I had a lot of things stored under my bed and like in my closet, and now it's just there's just boxes and piles of clothing everywhere.
Hmm.
Because I also didn't do my laundry because I didn't have water,
Yeah.
so it's a mess. Um, and my toilet still is broken, so I can wait until at least the floors are fixed.
Just like, just get a new apartment and just pretend that one never existed. Get all new stuff.
Yeah, I have. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff in that apartment. I really need to get rid of my clothes that I don't wear anymore. Yeah, so I haven't had. I had like 3 YouTube videos that were like filmed, and I was like, oh yes, these are gonna be great. And then I lost power. I was like, ooh, and then I was like, well, it's too cold to try and edit this. And then I got kicked out, and then now, yeah, whatever.
We'll never see them.
There'll be a big content surge upon my return, which I'm sure the fans listening are just really clamoring for. Oh, and also thank you for those who followed my Twitch. I'm now at 50, so once I start streaming again, that'll be a thing.
Are you gonna stream the slot machine game?
If I could figure out how to stream the slot machine game on my laptop here, I might do that.
It's a good game.
It's a great game. But I want to stream Fortnite again because those are usually fun. It's fun streams. Anyway, yeah, that's it for me.
All right. Um, I wanted to plug something that has nothing to do with me, just like support something small, but I don't know anything. So
Oh, okay. Buy local.
Yeah, buy local. It's good for your health.
Read a book.
I'll plug a book. Read 16 Dogs.
Okay.
It's a book about Greek gods give 16 dogs the emotional intelligence of humans.
Oh, is this like Warrior Cats, but with superpowered dogs?
Maybe. I have no
Oh, that
idea what
sounds. I
Warrior
fucking
Cats
love
is.
Warrior Cats. Are great, dude. It's just cats like murdering each other.
Yeah, there's a
It's
lot
fucking
of
sick.
there's a lot of betrayal and like teaming up, and then that's where the betrayal comes in. It's a whole thing.
Oh, that sounds like a fun time.
Yeah, it's a good book. It's set in Toronto. It's got a lot of local landmarks for me. Pretty cool. No one else cares about that, but it's a fun
I mean,
time for
hey,
me.
that's. I'm sure if there's another Canadian listening, they might appreciate that.
I checked the stats. 0 listens in Canada, so
Not even you.
no, I don't listen.
Not even your wife. Damn.
No,
Hey,
she
I'm holding down the
stopped.
fort in Texas.
It's true. Texas listens are off the charts.
So thank you, Texas.
I did listen to last week's episode, but I listened within Audacity to make sure that there were no issues. But that's the first episode I've done that with, so if there are issues in the past, whoops.
Yeah, whoops. All right, well.
We've been doing non-plugs for about 6 minutes.
Yes. So, goodbye.
Good night.